Hello everyone, my name is Diana, and in this video I would like to talk about the hiring process in a trucking company for CDL drivers. I want to mention that this video is only for companies that are for hire and not for passengers or for private carriers. I understand that hiring process is a complicated and struggle for all of us, for owners, for safety managers, and for hiring specialists. This is why in this video I will present you step-by-step guide how to hire and how to check quickly a driver. And in order to avoid misunderstandings, to avoid costly and timely detentions, and to have this process smoothly and effectively. In the final of this video, you will know how to check and how to understand if the driver is the right candidate. This is first. Second, you'll understand how to check your safety manager if he or she is doing all the process correctly. And third, you'll have the guide how to do by yourself if you're a owner or if you're a safety specialist, how to do the hiring process. And of course, how to don't lose your money and how to avoid a time detention. Let's dive in. Okay, let's start. Let's imagine that you have a driver. For your opinion is the right candidate, you talk with them and you decide to hire. What you need to do first? First, you need to check this driver. To check what? To check documents. You need to check his CDL, if it's valid, and you need to check his MedCard. But here is not only about the validation of the MedCard, about the time of validation, I mean. Here is important to check National Registry for Medical Examiner in order to see if the medical examiner had the license to check your CDL driver. And here is important step. And third, here you need to check the clearinghouse. I don't understand why, but many safety managers and owners, I see that they avoid this step. The cost is only $1.50, but you can check by the start if your driver had the violation for drug or alcohol. And if you check all these three components, I mean CDL if it's valid, you need to have here MVR and PSP to see if your driver have violations, to see if maybe he had another CDL in another state. If you check your PSP, you'll see all the information. But keep in mind that here, before to check these two documents, you'll need to sign with the driver a special form that the driver give you a consent to check his driving history. It's very important for not only for compliance with the FMCSA regulation, but in order to avoid misunderstanding and maybe different, claims from a driver that you check illegally his document. Because if you want to check PSP, you will need a social security number. And you know that this is a confidential information. Okay, let's repeat. You'll need to check CDL, I mean MVR, PSP, Social Security, to sign with the driver, knowledge, and to be sure that you have a right to check this document. Second, to check MedCard, but not only MedCard, you need to check National Registry. It's a website where you need to enter the license number from the medical examiner, and you will check the driver MedCard, and you will need to check clearinghouse. This will cost $1.50. PSP and MVR maybe $40, $50. I don't know, maybe like that. And this is first step. If your driver pass all this, it's only three main etaps, I mean. What you need to check next? You need to check if your insurance company will admit this driver on your policy, because all trucking companies has different contract with their insurance companies, and maybe they didn't like your driver. And when you have MVR, PSP, and you have all checking process passed, you need to check your insurance. To check insurance not only for admission of your driver that you check, but to check what code they give you, because we have a situation where an insurance agent admit the driver, but they receive a 4K for one driver to add him to the policy. And in my opinion, this is too expensive for one driver, and monthly payment 4K for a driver and truck and trailer. This is expensive, and this is why I recommend you first to check the admission and second to check the code. If you get the best deal and your insurance company admit this driver and give you a good code, you can finally do a shingle for drug and alcohol test. This is important step, because if your driver didn't pass this step, means you cannot hire the driver. And you need to contact the driver to get the zip code, to go to your consortium account to schedule this drug and alcohol test, and to wait. Because I think if your driver didn't pass this step, you don't need to check more info. But how we are doing? We are checking to insurance, but by the way, we are checking the previous employer. And here it's important to have a correct information from your driver and to have the possibility to contact the previous employer in order to check all his working details. I mean, to check if he has some accidents, violations, or maybe he violated company policies, or maybe he didn't return company equipment or fuel card or IFTA license or something else. I don't know. You need to check all this data before the driver to complete the drug test, because when the driver will complete the drug test, this means they will be in your consortium, and this driver will be registered under your company. Okay, you are not obligated to hire him or to complete all the hiring process, but you will need to pay something like $200 for the test, and this means that you will lose your money. Okay, now the previous employer is very important part in your decision to hire a driver, because sometimes we discover the real histories of your driver, because they changed the CDL in another state and they can show us a perfect picture of his working history, but when we contact the previous employer, we discover the real horror. This is why you need to do this step to complete the form, previous employer verification, to check all the previous employer, and to be sure that your driver is a right candidate. And of course, to schedule a drug test, and if your driver complete this drug test, to wait results in 1-2 days. Okay, what is important here? This time that you are waiting for a drug and alcohol result, you can use to set up the next step of the driver, employer, and hiring process. You can complete all the policies, all the forms. You can discuss with the driver about your rules in the companies, and to prepare all the paperwork for this part. And if you have all this step completed, you can move forward. By the way, don't forget that our company had the safety department, and we have all these checklists, all these process structured in our company. And if you need help, you can contact us, and we will help you with all safety-related problems and regulation and procedures. And you can see here the contact information. You can contact me directly and be sure that we will help you. And finally, if your driver passed the drug and alcohol pre-employment drug test and is negative, is important part, because if it's positive, you cannot hire this driver. And how you can avoid the time disruptions, or how you can discover that something went wrong. If your drug result for your drivers come in more than 3 working days, you need to contact the laboratory and to check what happened, because often the drug result or alcohol result is positive in this case, because usually you need to receive in 1-2 days the result. Let's move forward. Let's imagine that your driver passed all these steps. You have a clean CDL, you have a clean PSP, the previous employer is have a good complimentary description of your driver, you have a good negative drug and alcohol test, and now you need to complete a most important part. You need to complete all FMCSA required forms. This means that FMCSA have a set of forms that is required of the driver to complete before to start working. This means that you need to check your driver, check if he can do the pre-trip inspection correctly. You need to check if he can operate with the equipment that you give him, or maybe he is owner operator and he has his own equipment. You need to check if this equipment is in a good condition and if the maintenance is doing right. Okay, let's start with the first. This is forms required by FMCSA. It's important part because you or your company need to be in compliance with the regulation. Second, you need to check the driver behaviors and the driver condition. This means that your driver needs to come to your office to pass the training with your safety manager or maybe with you. For example, we are complete this training online, but it's not not a big difference because you have a presentation and you need to present it to the driver all the company rules, all the policies, and explain how it's working your company. After that, you will need to check if a driver can complete pre-trip, can operate with the equipment. Here is important not only the truck, but it's important the same the trailer and the equipment that the driver have. For example, if you will give him a flatbed, you will need to check that you have all needed equipment like straps and another equipment for a flatbed. And the same, you will need to check if a driver know how to fix the load for flatbed, I don't know, a machinery or something else, because we have cases when a driver, a newbie, didn't fix the machinery right, and this became a loss for a company and a big claim and injuries, and the company loses more than $50,000. And this is very dangerous for all parts, for a company, for a driver, for a broker, for all people that are in this process. If you do all these steps, you will need finally to give the driver the docs that he needs to have in his truck. These documents is related to your company. It's MC authority, it's insurance certificate, if the license, if the stickers, ELD, tablet for ELD, to explain to the driver how it's working your ELD platform and to show how to operate, because on the market we have more than 200 applications, and for a driver is really struggle to understand how to use this application. But by the way, we have our ELD provider, we have our application, and it's easy to use. And if you need to help, or maybe if you have a struggle with this, contact us. In the description, you'll see our contact, and we will present you our application. Okay, let's move forward. When you present all equipment, I don't know, maybe you have GPS, maybe you have bypass, maybe you have different equipment, cameras, ELDs, tablets, all this stuff. After that, you'll need to explain to the driver how to work, how to operate, who is his dispatcher, because this is important part. If you have a dispatcher, you need to present to the driver. And important part that we forgot here is the accounting. The driver first need to know and to understand when he will get his money. And this is why it's important to connect the driver with the accounting. Or if you don't have accounting in your company, maybe you are a owner that prepared the pay slips by himself. In this case, you need to explain to the driver that I am responsible for this. And if you have some question regarding your salary, you need to contact me, because in our practice, often we see the driver that didn't know who is his accounting. They are calling the safety managers and asking about the salary, but safety manager don't have the access to the bank statement, bank account, loads, and all this stuff. And this is why it's important to present here the information to the driver. Let's put all this together. We have a checking process. This is first step. Check-in. Second, we have I think that this is intermediate process. Because here you have to check the previous employer and you need to wait the drug test result. And I think that this period is intermediate because you are not 100% sure that you'll hire the driver. It's 50-50. And third is the process one need to complete the hiring. Here we can divide this process in signing form and contract and policies and training, and to instruct the driver right how to use all company equipment and all company stuff. And here in the third step, we have, I think that this is connection, a driver, and team. Here we are talking about dispatch, accounting, and safety. If you are a owner of the company and, for example, maybe you are a dispatcher, you are a counter and safety, and you do all this work, in this case, you'll need to explain to the driver this, because he needs to know what person to contact in case of some, some problems on the road. I think that here is a simple and quick instruction how to do all the hiring process. And here we need to pay attention that when we do third step, we need to check if all our form is in compliance with FMCSA regulation, because we have a lot of requirements for trucking companies and for truck driver. We have safety related issues that need to be fixed here. If you're asking about the duration of all this process, it can be at least 1 week. This means 5 working days. And I think that this is a real and perfect time to do all this stuff. This is part. And the cost will be something, if it's a driver per mile, it's about $300-400 for a hiring process, and it depends on your insurance, what code they will give you. I don't know, maybe $2,000. If it's a owner operator, it can be $5K. I don't know how it's operation in your company and how much you are paying to your specialist, but I think that you can calculate all this cost and to see if it's cost effectively all your hiring process. And by the way, you can check your safety specialist if she or he is doing all these steps this right and quick. Thank you for watching, and don't forget that our company provides a comprehensive safety, dispatch, accounting services, and the same, we have our platform, we have software for hiring, we have software for accounting, for tracking accounting, we have our ELD provider, and we have TMS for tracking companies. And you can see in the description all our company detail and referral link. If you go through the link, you can complete the form and get $100 for each of your truck for our services. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.